Coming up on Cannabis Coast to Coast News this week, another talk show appearance for VP Kamala Harris. This time, she talks to Howard Stern and warns, don't go to the Sphere in Las Vegas under the influence of cannabis. It's visually overwhelming. And more business failures in the industry from coast to coast as Ease lays off 500 employees and will close down delivery operations in California and Michigan by the end of the year. And the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission hands out 5-figure fines to Trulieve and to Ascend Wellness. So, while many companies are eyeing bankruptcy and receivership, cannabis giant Canopy Growth expands their U.S. presence by acquiring the Wana Wellness brand of popular edibles, the SEMA Group, and Mountain High Products. And while many social media sites shadow ban and shut down cannabis posts, the CEO of X, aka Twitter, welcomes cannabis posts on his platform. You know, we're talking about Elon Musk. On Cannabis Coast to Coast News with Alaina Pinto. Next.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Cannabis Coast to Coast News, Pro Cannabis Media's weekly production of news from the ever-changing cannabis industry. I'm Alaina Pinto. A reminder that the easiest way to find this news show will be to download our new app, PCM TV, available with a free download at the App Store and Google Play. We will start this week here in the Bay State of Massachusetts, where the Cannabis Control Commission has been busy dishing out fines to some of the biggest multi-state operators for a variety of violations. 4 months ago, the CCC came down hard on Trulieve for unsafe working conditions that led to the death of worker Lorna McMurray. That fine was $350,000. This past week, the CCC fined Curaleaf and Ascend Wellness for violations that were self-reported by both companies. Curaleaf's fine of $80,000 was for pesticide contamination in their Amesbury facility from 4 years ago. The CCC statement this week found that Curaleaf, quote, failed to utilize best practices to limit contamination of marijuana and exhibited negligence in its cultivation operations. The other MSO was Ascend Wellness, and they were fined $85,000 when they discovered a discrepancy in the tracking of products that was the fault of staff who failed to report the results of an internal audit of their inventory. The two tracking software platforms that are used by most dispensaries in Massachusetts is Metric, and the other is Leaf Logic, aka Dutchie. It seems that the two platforms were not in sync. So that led to some product that had been ordered ahead for in-store pickup being sold at the counter to walk-ins. It doesn't sound like such a big mistake, but the tracking of every product from seed to sale is the basis for all legal sales in the Commonwealth. In this year alone, the Cannabis Control Commission of Massachusetts has now dished out $785,000 in fines. That money goes into the Marijuana Regulation Fund. 15% of that is supposed to get deposited into the Cannabis Social Equity Fund. So what impact did Curaleaf's latest oops have on their publicly traded stock? That's why we have our own day trader, Doug Miller, who is high on Wall Street.
I'm Doug Miller from High on Wall Street with this week's Cannabis Stock Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast. Curaleaf has made massive amounts of progress in recent weeks as the company's focused on cutting costs and bringing new people on board. Curaleaf CEO Boris Jordan, he said that the company's changing the whole dynamic of how it operates. He also recently stated that the industry's going through a very difficult period, and there's a lot of major both catalysts and potential roadblocks in the way. Curaleaf is set to release its Q3 2024 financial and operational results on November 6, 2024, with a detailed conference call scheduled for that evening. So let's see how the stock chart's looking. It's trading around $2.97, and it's setting up as most of the cannabis stocks are. So watch for this bad boy to start running up. And as it does, trade smart and lock in those profits. And that's this week's Cannabis Stock Report. Reporting for Cannabis Coast to Coast, I'm Doug Miller.
For years, this Monday used to be called Columbus Day, but it is now identified as Indigenous Peoples Day, and October is a celebration of Native Americans, now called Indigenous Peoples Month. Many sovereign tribal nations are getting into the cannabis business. Some, like the Eastern Cherokee Nation in North Carolina, have opened adult use and medical sales in that state, where hemp-derived products are sold openly, but cannabis is still illegal to possess. Tina Tasaka is now covering the cannabis news coming from these tribes in her Nevada Cannabis Report.
I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies, and this is the Nevada and Tribal Nations Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. The Seneca County Supreme Court ruled again that grandma-approved sovereign trades, a marijuana dispensary in Seneca Falls, is operating illegally. The dispensary has been selling cannabis from a tool shed for over 3 years. Cayuga Nation sued after the town failed to stop the dispensary, leading to the October 4 decision. The court denied an attempt by Carlin Seneca John to overturn a previous ruling, emphasizing that federal laws governing the Cayuga Nation override local regulations. This marks the second legal victory for the nation, putting pressure on the town to enforce its laws. National Indigenous Cannabis Policy Summit, hosted by the Indigenous Cannabis Industry Association, will be held from November 13th through the 15th in Washington, D.C. This event will bring together tribal leaders, government officials, businesses, healthcare professionals, veterans groups, and advocacy organizations to address key challenges and opportunities in the cannabis and hemp industries for Indigenous communities. Rob Pirro, founder of ICIA and Candigenous, highlighted the importance of this year's event, saying, "In our third year of the summit and a pivotal election year, we have a unique opportunity to make an impact. The summit's theme, Tribal Cannabis Reform Moving Forward, aims to develop a plan for cannabis reform in the new administration. Registration is open at indigenouscannabissummit.com. In Nevada, on October 2nd, the Lyon County Sheriff's Office and several agencies raided 2 locations in Silver Springs and Stagecoach, uncovering an illegal marijuana growing operation. Over 1,500 plants, 1,000 pounds of processed marijuana, firearms, and large sums of money sent to Mexico were seized. 10 individuals were arrested, facing charges including drug trafficking and unlawful cultivation. The operation involved multiple law enforcement and government agencies, including the DEA and Homeland Security. As I sign off, this Vegas girl of 29 years must say goodbye to Miss Tropicana of 67 years. She was imploded this week. So long, farewell. We hate to say goodbye. The Tropicana Hotel and Casino. That's it for the Nevada highlights and tribal nations. I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies and Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
Lots of news this week from California, and none of it is very promising. Ease, one of the largest delivery operations in the Golden State and in Michigan, is laying off 500 workers and is scheduled to shut down by the end of the year. Ease had been known as the Uber of weed, but they defaulted on a $36.9 million loan, and the company could not recover from high operating costs, regulatory burdens, and competition from unlicensed legacy operators. And another example of the challenges of operating in the cannabis industry is that, especially in California. So now Ease joins MedMen, Flow, Canna, and Herbal as major players with valuations in the billions, who have all failed because of the strict regulations the Golden State had put in place to control the rollout of the adult use legal market. This failure has now put thousands of workers back on the streets looking for work, and the return of the legacy market to dominate. Sadly, this was the exact reason why the legal market was created in the first place. Overregulated, overtaxed, and licensed legal cannabis has crippled the #1 market in the United States, exposing how to ruin a once vibrant state with a strong medical program. Well, now let's check in on the state that was the first on the West Coast to start a legal adult use market, Washington State, with Matthew Friedlander.
Hi, I'm Matthew Friedlander, coming to you from the owner's office here at Skagit Organics with the Washington State Cannabis Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast. In today's report, I will touch on some rulemaking at the LCB and give you some information about a few upcoming events. So the LCB has finalized some rulemaking sections recently, most notably the rulemaking surrounding the regulation of THC outside of our regulated system. So the THC content of hemp products in Washington. The LCB, there is rumors as well that they are considering changing our traceability system. They have recently sent out a survey looking for people's opinion from the industry on our opinions on the traceability system. So not good news. This hasn't gone well in the past when we've switched. 2018 to leaf data was a disaster. Actually, many businesses couldn't even conduct commerce for about 3 weeks. So again, I've submitted my opinion on the situation, and that is to leave things alone. A few upcoming events the Cannabis Alliance is hosting. We have a fundraiser here in Washington next Tuesday, the 16th, for Shelley Kloba. Representative Kloba has been a great advocate for the cannabis industry in past years, and we are hoping she will continue to support us as we support her. If you're in Washington, you can attend this event in person. Please visit thecannabisalliance.us, click on the calendar link, and look for an invite to that event. Also on October 17th, the Cannabis Alliance will be hosting a virtual town hall on bridging the divide between cannabis and hemp. This is a virtual event, like I said, so you can attend this from anywhere. If you, again, go to thecannabisalliance.us, click on the calendar link, you'll be able to find an invite for that. So that's what I've got for you this week out of Washington. My name is Matthew, reporting for Cannabis Coast to Coast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Another state with declining sales continues to be New Mexico. The total sales numbers for September in that state have declined by $4.3 million. This market is only 2 years old, and it does seem to be leveling off, with total medical and adult use sales just $46.8 million for the month. New Mexico's total transactions for the month was just over 1 million, but the thriving legacy market seems to be the biggest factor, according to the Albuquerque Journal. Multi-state operator Swayze told that newspaper that medical sales will probably continue to decline as consumers move over to the adult use sector, which is typical for states that have transitioned over to offering both. Since the legal market launched in New Mexico, total sales are now at $1.3 billion, but now seem to be slowing down. The September sales numbers were the lowest since February of this year. The newest state to open for adult use, in addition to an established medical program, is Ohio. Christina Brisson follows that state for us now, and here's her Ohio report, sponsored by Yellow Labs, a sublingual tincture product that is now in 40 dispensaries in that state.
In Willow Creek, Rory, renowned for birdwatching, embraced nature's elegance. Preparing for his woodland sojourn, he used grape-focused THC mist from Yellow Labs. Each spritz honed his senses, capturing avian beauty. Immersed in the forest symphony, Rory's lens froze vibrant moments. Emerging at twilight, gratitude filled him for the mist's clarity. Recalling, "Find Yellow Labs near you." Rory ordered more of his mist from...
Hi, I'm Christina Brisson with Over the Top Renovations with your weekly Ohio Cannabis Report with Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Short update this week, but our sales have exceeded $98 million in the first couple months of sales. And remember these moratoriums that I've talked about a few times? We have 111 of them already in place in Ohio. And now Marietta's looking to possibly join this. Now their council's going to have a vote on October 16th. Let's hope it goes the other way. Another fun fact I learned today is that, is it possible that cannabis is an anti-cancer agent? Preclinical studies show that cannabinoids, or suggest that cannabinoids may inhibit the growth of cancer cells, as well as promote cell death of the cancer cells. More information to come as I find out. Thank you so much, and that's your weekly Ohio Cannabis Report.
The Ohio Cannabis Report is supported by Yellow Labs and BetterWaysToTHC.com. Search for Yellow Labs near me and find one of 40 dispensaries in Ohio carrying these amazing mists and creams.
That will do it for the A block for this week's Cannabis Coast to Coast news. But coming up, we will head to Canada for news of Canopy Growth acquiring one of the biggest edible companies in the United States as that company continues its push into the US market. And Elon Musk is now claiming that X, once known as Twitter, is embracing the cannabis culture, which would be a switch for many of the social media companies who constantly ban or shut down cannabis posts. Cannabis Coast to Coast news continues after this.
Ready to take your craft to the next level? Imagine faster extractions, purer products, and more profits. Sounds good, right? At Pure 5 Extraction, we've revolutionized cannabis extraction with our game-changing technology. No solvents, no heat, just the cleanest, most natural process on the market. Whether you're a boutique grower or a large-scale operation, Pure 5 has the tools to elevate your business worldwide. Visit pure5extraction.com today. Pure 5 Extraction, because your plants deserve the best.
It's a whole new world of weed out there, isn't it? Everyone is learning new ways to titrate, ingest, consume, imbibe, and engage with this plant medicine we call cannabis. Now, let me tell you my cannabis story. You know, I've had 4 major surgeries in the past 23 years and suffer from osteoarthritis with a variety of metal parts in my body and one on deck. Now, thanks to those chronic pain issues, I've been a medical patient in Massachusetts for almost 10 years now. I remember my first trip to a dispensary just outside of Boston, and I told the bud tender I didn't want to smoke it anymore. So I tried edibles, then tinctures, then vaping, and now if I'm going to smoke, I only use the Weegits filtration system. What? The Weegits.com, Weegits, that's weed, W-E-E-D, G-E-T-S.com, is where you'll find the planet's coolest product that cools the smoke from everyone's favorite flower. The guy that started this was a pretty good medical device manufacturer, and he created this maze pipe that cools the smoking process from 1300 degrees Fahrenheit upon inflammation down to just 90 degrees when it reaches your mouth. That's right, 1300 down to 90. That's why this maze pipe is amazing. Now, add in the code of PCMTV and you get 15% off. So just go to Weegits.com and check out the best way to enjoy a cooler smoke with less coughing and hacking and more peace of mind.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Cannabis Coast to Coast News. I'm Alaina Pinto. This is the B block, or our second section of news items for this week. We start with Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the world, and someone who has admitted to being a user of cannabis is now operating X, that used to be called Twitter. Musk is letting his billions of followers know that his social media company will be a safe haven for cannabis posts. If that's the case, they will be separating from many, like Instagram, Facebook, and to some extent YouTube, who have all censored cannabis content and have shut down many channels or posts. In fact, the word weed was a banned word on many platforms, but now Twitter not only will be allowing that word to describe the plant medicine, it will encourage more advertisers to reach their consumers in their messaging. At the Benzinga Business Conference this week in Chicago, Alexis Alinello, the chief cannabis officer, shared that there have been over 40 million posts annually about cannabis on X. So while Elon Musk brags that his platform is the only social media platform that you can talk about cannabis openly, Alexis Alinello said this week at Benzinga that she wants the platform to help normalize cannabis. Our Texas correspondent, Lisa Williams, was in Chicago at Benzinga, and she talked with PCM founder Jimmy Young about that experience.
Joining us now is Lisa Williams, our Texas correspondent from the Toke Agency, and she is just back from the Benzinga conference in Chicago. Lisa, what were your impressions of the conference? It's usually a very exciting gathering of business people.
Yeah, Jimmy, there were just the buzz and the energy in the room. You just feel it. And it's like you're on this natural high, no pun intended, the
Not
whole
that you ever use
time.
puns, Lisa, or anything, Sorry, I couldn't help it.
You're literally, you're meeting people in real life. You're connecting. You're listening to these fabulous speakers. The panels were all fantastic. Of course, you can't make it to all of them. You have to pick and choose. But I think overall, if I could rate it, it was fantastic. I had the honor of going to a couple of after parties and meeting people, in smaller settings and intimate groups and having dinner and really connecting, on a micro level. And it really was fantastic. My takeaway was I definitely will be attending more Benzinga conferences in the future.
There you go. And, there's a lot of doom and gloom in the industry right now. Another company goes bankrupt and is in receivership. Capital has dried up. Yet at that conference, every report that I've seen, people are far more bullish on the industry than I expected them to be.
I was browsing LinkedIn today and I see, everybody's post about, attending the conference. And I think there was just a lot of optimism. And that's what the conference is for. It's if you're raising capital or if you're looking for capital, that is the main reason that you're supposed to attend Benzinga. And so I think there's a lot of optimism. As I said, I didn't have the opportunity to attend all of the different panels. So I wasn't really privy to like some of the information that was shared. But, I think overall, you can listen to the noise or you could choose to make your own path and figure out a way to make it happen.
Okay, here's a curveball. What did Lisa Williams learn at this conference? Anything?
Oh, gosh. Well, I connected with so many people, had so many opportunities to connect with people for Hello Again and for the Toke Agency, which just brightened my day every single moment. Had the opportunity to be introduced to a lot of people that I wasn't privy to me in the past. I think here's the other thing, Jimmy, and I posted about this on my LinkedIn post today. I've worked really hard to put myself in these rooms, right? 6 months ago, nobody knew the Toke Agency, nobody knew Lisa Williams, but I wasn't afraid to get my name out there, get the Toke Agency's name out there, get Hello Again's name out there. So I wasn't afraid to put myself in these rooms. And, I was speaking on a panel and got quoted in Benzinga's, article. I'm happy.
There you go. And it's good to say hello again to Hello Again.
Absolutely.
I met them years ago, and I wish you the best of luck with that. Lisa Williams, our Texas correspondent, thank you so much for joining us here on Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
I'm Pam Chmiel with the Mary Jane Society podcast, and this is the New York Cannabis Coast to Coast report. I attended the Revelry Cannabis Festival in New York City last weekend, and it was a real indicator of how the New York market is doing. The Revelry event combined a traditional trade show where buyers and brands networked and did business with an outdoor music festival where the public could meet brands, purchase products, and consume on site. Revelry's Meet the Brand Festival is the first large-scale public event of its kind in New York City. where visitors got to explore rows of booths and brands from top cannabis brands inside of a 70,000 square foot sports and entertainment facility, which had stunning views of Brooklyn and the East River. And it was clear that New York's cannabis market is evolving and maturing. Many brands showcased live resin and rosin products as addition to their product lineup, an upgrade from distillate products which typically launch a new market. And brands like Kiva and MFNY highlighted strain-specific gummies on their packaging, such as live resin cherry, cherry lime, and super runs gummies. Dubbed a disaster by Governor Hochul, it's no secret that the launch of the New York cannabis industry has been grueling, especially for farmers who have endured a long wait for dispensaries to get up and operational. But with over 200 dispensaries now open, a sense of relief and optimism was evident on the faces of farmers exhibiting at Revelry. And famed New York City graffiti artist Gazoo used Revelry to launch his new line of flower pre-roll and vapes and promoted it personally by screen printing dozens of T-shirts with his logo and handing them out to festival attendees. The event marked a significant leap towards mainstream acceptance of the cannabis industry in New York, and I'm sure more events are to follow where consumers can meet brands, purchase product, and consume on site. I'm Pam Chmiel for the New York Cannabis Coast to Coast Report.
With only a few weeks to go before the presidential election here in the United States, the CEO of multi-state operator Tilray, Irwin Simon, is bullish on both candidates for the presidency. He feels that no matter who wins in November, the cannabis industry is expecting federal reforms and could lead to legalization. Speaking to investors this week, Simon said that there is a greater likelihood that federal reform is coming to the U.S. no matter the result. Tilray's Canadian beverage division has had declining revenues over the past year, but by making key acquisitions in the U.S. market, they are expected to become a major player in the beverage sector of the industry. With more from our neighbors to the north in Canada, here's Debi Facey.
This is Debi Facey with your Canadian Coast to Coast Cannabis News Report. So we have in Canada this week 2 stories. One is Bedrocon, which is a producer that we had here in Canada, is going to be coming back after having a venture out in the Netherlands. They are coming here in the more pharmaceutical grade and the medicinal aspect of things. So we're hoping to see a nice boost when it comes to a lot of our medical patients, and a nice boost when it comes to Bedrocon coming back to Canada, because it'd be great, especially when it comes to the compassion and care and quality that they did have, and they continue to produce. Now, with legalization, our anniversary legalization coming up on the 17th, OCS has decided to create a fake or an illegal set store. So the store is going to be completely faux. You can't purchase anything, but it's going to be having products in there that is going to mimic what the black market or the illegal illicit market is producing today. So most of their products are going to have funny names, imaginary packaging, but also it's going to be defining the difference between a legal product and an illegal product, the importance of labeling, the importance of quality assurance, and it's also going to just, I guess in a way, make a joke about the illegal and the illicit market still being intact as well as they being a legal market. I'm not too sure really, but let's just see what happens and how great everyone responds to it. This is Debi Facey with your Canadian Coast to Coast Cannabis Report. Peace.
Kevin Shakir, aka the Shake Man, right here in the natural state of Arkansas, reporting for you at Cannabis Coast to Coast News we've got breaking news coming out of the state of Arkansas. The Supreme Court has counted the signatures. That's right. They have told John Thurston, the Secretary of State, that he needs to count all signatures that have been turned in. What was going on? They were trying to not count those votes. You had the Attorney General, Tim Griffin, weighing in, stating that the folks that were out canvassing were getting paid and we shouldn't count those actual signatures. We were shy by the count that they were given. It was 177,000 votes that they were counting, or I should say not votes, but signatures. We were waiting for those votes. And we were short around about, I would say, after the final count, it was 188. So we kept creeping up. And since then, we had 18,000 votes come in, which would have been over the threshold, which is 90,700 votes to put this initiative on the ballot. So what ended up happening is the courts sided with the people and stated that they need to count every vote. What would this vote do for the cannabis market out here and the cannabis patients? Basically, you have the fact that you would be able to grow as an adult over the age of 21, 7 mature plants and 7 new plants that you could have in your possession at your home in the state of Arkansas. Also, the doctors would be able to issue out cannabis for any type of situation that they feel that cannabis was needed, not just on the list that they have for the doctors to adhere to at this time. And then when cannabis becomes legal by the federal government, we would automatically be ready to go right here in the state of Arkansas. All the dispensaries would be ready. So that would be great for the actual adults that want to use. And then you could have, as an adult, up to 1 ounce of cannabis in your possession. So those are the things that would come into play. And there's a few other caveats to that. The folks that are behind this initiative for folks, Arkansanians for Patient Access, they basically have said that they think that this is that time, the time when the green wave will hit the state of Arkansas. So stay tuned for more news. I'm Kevin Shakir, aka the Shake Man, mixing it up. That's right, all over the world and right here in Arkansas. I'll be in a city near you sooner or later doing some cannabis events. Shout out to California and them having the Consumption Lounge initiative pass. I'll be out there in that state mixing it up too. For more news, we now join Alaina Pinto right here at Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
One more note from Canada. Canopy Growth is also growing their U.S. footprint. This week, they acquired the Wana Wellness edible brand, one of the largest in that space in the U.S. Now, let's move from Canada down south to Florida. 2 hurricanes in the last month have hit that state hard, and there has been an impact on cannabis businesses in the Sunshine State. In the days leading up to Hurricane Milton, many of the major players in that state closed their doors for a few days in preparation for the devastating and dangerous storm. We know that our Florida correspondent, Jeff Aker, survived without too much tree damage on his property, but had dozens of trees knocked down in his neighborhood, and power is still out to millions of residents there. You do have to wonder what impact the storm's aftermath might have on voter turnout next month. Don't expect their governor, Ron DeSantis, to make any concessions to make voter registration any easier despite the devastation inside his state, especially when keeping voter turnout low could negatively impact the Smart and Safe Florida initiative on Question 3, that is a binding referendum on adult use of cannabis in that state. DeSantis refused to alter or move the deadline for voters registering. We hope Jeff will regain his power by next week, fingers crossed, but he is safe. One thing that the state of Arizona probably won't ever have to worry about is the threat of a hurricane hitting that state that is half desert. That's where Allison Benedict reports from this week, filling in for Karen Black, who is on vacation.
I'm Allison Benedict from Pause Consumption, filling in for Karen Black with the Arizona Cannabis Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Let's take a look at some of this week's top cannabis stories. The Mint dispensaries are giving back to the community in a unique way this October. They're hosting blood donation drives. As an added incentive, donors will receive a perk, either a free pre-roll or an edible, depending on the location. The goal is to help address the critical need for blood donations while engaging with the cannabis community in a positive way. It's a great opportunity to make a difference and get something in return. A new kind of dispensary experience is coming to Arizona with the grand opening of Green Farms in Mesa, a supermarket-inspired cannabis shop. This innovative concept is designed to make shopping for cannabis feel familiar and accessible, similar to your neighborhood grocery store. Customers can expect wide aisles, an open layout, and a wide selection of products, giving them a more relaxed and comfortable way to shop for cannabis. Elevate Holistics is now offering telehealth services specifically for Arizona medical marijuana patients. This is a significant development, especially for patients in rural areas who lack access to transportation or individuals too ill to visit an in-person certification clinic. By connecting patients with healthcare professionals online, Elevate Holistics is helping to increase access to Arizona medical marijuana program, ensuring more people across the state can receive the care that they need without the challenges of distance or mobility. Finally, for Arizona cannabis lovers who enjoy a little competition, Bongs and Birdies is back. This charity golf tournament returns for its second year, combining cannabis culture with a day of fun on the golf course. Set for November 16th, participants can expect a day filled with golf, giveaways, and an opportunity to support Arizona NORML's advocacy efforts to reform marijuana laws. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or just there for the good vibes, it's an event worth checking out and a great way to support a cause that's making a difference in Arizona cannabis landscape. That's all for this week's Arizona Cannabis Report. I'm Allison Benedict from Pause Consumption, reporting for Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
The state of New Jersey continues to be active in making reforms for their new cannabis industry. This week, the New Jersey Assembly passed a bill to protect the privacy of records for people who have had their records expunged. With more from the Garden State, here's Jill Goldsberry.
Hey, Jill Goldsberry here with Coast to Coast Cannabis News, and this is the New Jersey Report. What's going on in New Jersey? Well, New Jersey is now the home to well over 100 dispensaries, adult and recreational combined, and with the majority being located in the Camden and Hudson counties of New Jersey. And that being said, we're able to welcome 5 more dispensaries into the fold. So I want to take a moment to congratulate Best Buds in Woodbury, MMD in Jersey City, Euphoria in Jersey City, Plantopia in Englishtown, and Mountain Dispensary in Vernon, New Jersey. Which brings me to MMD and their opening, which we were able to attend and get a look at the store. It is located on Newark Avenue in Jersey City, and their opening was really fun, complete with DJ. Shout out to Cannademics for a great job DJing. It was also local businesses that combined with the dispensary opening to offer free ice cream to patrons for their purchase. So we were able to take a look at Bonana's and the milk and cream ice cream out of Jersey City, all in the same location as the dispensary. Patrons were able to experience very deep discounts that day, and they'll probably never see that again. So if you missed it, you missed it. But MMD was a fun opening. If you get a chance to come to Jersey City, check it out. Which brings me to the Revelry Trade Show and Buyers Conference that happened a few days ago, and that was a 2-day conference on Pier 36, and keynote speaker was Angela Yee of Way Up with Angela Yee. One of the brands that we were excited to see was Precious Cannabis, which is owned by CEO Precious Osagie Aresi out of New Jersey, particularly East Orange, I believe. And so we had a chance to speak with her, and we're going to speak with her very soon on the show to talk about her experience at the Revelry and her experience building her brand, which is what she was talking about at the conference. I'm Jill Goldsberry with Coast to Coast Cannabis News, New Jersey. Great to see you, and we'll be back next time.
Every week, Joe Parsons in Virginia finds interesting stories in his state that continues to enjoy a vibrant medical market while working on reviving the adult use movement. Here's Joe in his Virginia report for the week.
I'm Joe Parsons from the Virginia Cannabis Connection, and this is the Virginia Cannabis Report on Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Since May of 2016, Minorities for Medical Marijuana has been one of the nation's largest nonprofit organizations devoted to social equity in the cannabis industry. They operate in over 27 states, including the United Kingdom and Canada. So today I was able to get caught up with the Virginia director, Lonnie Hayes, to find out what's going on in our neck of the woods. And this is what he had to say.
Right now in the state of Virginia, the previous bill that we worked on getting passed, it did pass the House and Senate, but it had gotten shot down. We had verbiage in there for 60% of the tax revenue from cannabis to go back to underserved communities. But again, it didn't pass. An incubation period and helping small business owners get some leeway in the market before medical facilities do. And they're looking at trying to get started with adult use sales before the little guy does. But we're working on fighting that. So those are some of the provisions that are in the bill. Looking at having it again this coming go around for the General Assembly. It may not make it again, might get shut down, but we're going to continue to try. We might have to wait until the next governor. That is something that we're working on. It's not fair, it's not right that there are people still incarcerated while we have these companies making all of this money. It depends on who is in office on the state level. Look at Maryland. I recently have been going door to door and bringing awareness to what's going on in the community. I'll be going again this Saturday. That's my first year going door to door canvassing and being involved in the state politics. I recently went out to Mount Zion Baptist Church in Fredericksburg. It's behind Bragg Hill community. And we had two of our delegates there. It was Delegate Joshua Cole and Delegate Candy, forget her last name. And they spoke on some awesome issues that need to be addressed. And depending on who we have in office, things might go backwards for a lot of groups of people. Primary leadership groups here in Virginia that's working on fighting for these rights is Cannabis Equity Coalition of Virginia, the Richmond Crusade for Voters, and the Virginia Minority Cannabis Coalition.
I'm going to go and reach out to them all, man. Thank you so much because, dude, we need to all work as a team. Like I was saying, a lot of people say it's not red versus blue, but dude, if we want green, red and blue need to work as a team, right?
Yeah, it's about the better candidate, in my opinion. It ain't red or blue. It's just, understanding the people, with people and helping people. Yes, definitely. I'm going to reach out. There's some things in the works coming up for 2025. We're sitting down. We're working on planning. I know we're going to have some town hall meetings. Work on bringing awareness throughout Virginia. I appreciate your help, Joe.
Thank you. And you have an absolutely amazing day. And my own little saying and slogan I say every time, and as always, Lonnie, stay lifted, all right?
That I will. I look forward to being on here again with you.
All right, thanks a lot. I would like to give special thanks to the Minorities for Medical Marijuana, and especially Lonnie Hayes for his time in answering our questions. We wish you all the continued success, and we'll be with you all the way. Well, that's going to do it for this week from the Virginia Cannabis Connection and reporting from Cannabis Coast to Coast News. I'm Joe Parsons. Until next time, stay lifted.
And finally tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris continues to make the rounds on popular talk and interview shows. And this week, she sat down with Howard Stern, who continues to show why he is a great interviewer of people. On Howard's show this week, Kamala again reinforced her intent on legalizing the plant medicine if elected. And this time, she shared a piece of advice for those who might be thinking of a trip to Las Vegas to experience the Sphere attraction, where U2 continues to share their incredible music with a sensory experience that is unforgettable. Harris warned, you probably shouldn't go to the Sphere under the influence of cannabis because of the already overwhelming effects that are part of the show. It has to make you wonder, though, how she knows that. Or maybe it's just reverse psychology in a message. You decide. Okay, might make you want to experience, though, that under the influence just a little bit. I don't know. That will do it for an abridged version of Cannabis Coast to Coast News this week. PCM founder Jimmy Young will continue to produce some fresh content for our daily release on Wednesdays, usually the day for the C block. But remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly, especially if you are going to the Sphere in Las Vegas. I'm Alaina Pinto. We'll see you next week.
I think I messed up. Did you know there's a place that covers all the cannabis news you need? Welcome to Pro Cannabis Media, your go-to for all things cannabis. PCM is the CNBC of weed, bringing you the latest news and talk shows with a twist. We've got 16 state correspondents and multimedia journalists from around the US and Canada.
Hey everybody, it's Brandon Jones with Be Green Distribution with the Missouri Cannabis Report.
I'm Karen Black from Green Finger Consulting with the Arizona Cannabis Report.
I'm Amy Carter from Michigan Weedsters.
Andrew Behringer here reporting from Washington, D.C.
It's Debi Facey with the Canadian Toke of the Week.
It all started back in 2018 when founder Jimmy Young kicked off the In the Weeds podcast. His mission? Documenting the fight to end cannabis prohibition. Fast forward to today and we've got Cannabis Coast to Coast with Alaina Pinto, delivering the nation's only TV-style cannabis news show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Cannabis Coast to Coast News, Pro Cannabis Media's weekly roundup of the news from the industry. I'm Alaina Pinto.
As of August 2024, PCM has racked up over 1.2 million views and 14.5 million impressions on our YouTube channel. With 15,000 subscribers and growing, our reach is spreading like wildfire. PCM's website, YouTube, Rumble, Discord, Roku, Twitch, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and even our very own PCM TV app. Get your cannabis news fix with Pro Cannabis Media. We're here to keep you informed and entertained. Stay tuned and stay lifted.